Spikerman X is a game that currently has 0 Steam reviews. I get it, the artwork is kinda goofy, and if you click on the trailer, the graphics have this cheapish flash game look to it. Probably not super appealing for fans of Mega Man, which is clearly who this game is targeted towards. But if we look past that, is there a hidden gem here? Or just a game that is better left unplayed? In this game, you play as Spikerman, who's on a mission to stop an evil race that is waging war all over the galaxy. The story gets deeper than that as you delve into the heritage of the main character, and you get to view the events that led him to where you are today. Story is told through cutscenes, as well as story-based missions. There is a ton of story here. You get cutscenes in between levels, dialogue between bosses, random characters you talk to. It's all okay, but I personally am not a fan of this much story in a game like this. You also get these forced story missions that you must play after every couple of levels, which is just a slog, but I'll get more on that later. The way the dialogue scrolls is really annoying. You know, in most games, words start appearing in the bubble. You hit the button, and then the text all just appears in the bubble. Then you hit the button again, and it moves on to the next text box. In this game, if you hit a button, it just skips ahead to the next text box, which means you have to sit there and watch the words slowly auto-populate. It takes forever, and you wind up never really knowing when a character is done talking, making these scenes drag on for much longer than they need to. It's just an annoying little thing that shouldn't have been in the game, and adds an unnecessary amount of time to the already lengthy exposition. Having said all that, I didn't hate the story, it just could have been trimmed down a bit to not be so intrusive to the gameplay. After all, the gameplay is what matters, and Spikerman X has a lot of potential and some cool ideas. Structurally, it is like any other Mega Man game. You have an opening stage, which leads you to a boss selection of Robot Master-like enemies, and there is a store that you could buy items like E-tanks and weapon upgrades. Your character is equipped with exactly the things you would expect. You have a shot, charge shot, dash, a really cool sword attack, weapons you steal from bosses, a double jump, and a wall climb. The control is generally responsive and does what you need it to do, but level design here is generally on the poor side. There are a lot of empty spaces where you're just kind of running and nothing is happening. You have a few really easy jumps thrown in, but there's no challenge or feeling of tension in the levels, and wind up just slogging through them, praying that I'll get to the end soon. There are enemies to fight, but you see the same enemies in every level, and they don't really offer much of a challenge. You have basically 3 types: enemies that roll at you, enemies that fly at you, and enemies that stand there and shoot at you. They will look the same and act the same on every level, and their placement doesn't really add to any challenge. There's some minor exploration in some of the levels and some platforming, but the platforming is always mind-numbingly easy, with a large platform spaced for easy jumps and no enemies to create a sense of, ooh, I might miss this. You know, and on top of that, many times there's blind jumps, which you make, and I've never fallen into a pit, but it's just poor level design to not see where you're going. One cool thing that I enjoyed is that the charge shot allows you to triple jump, which seems like a cool opportunity for some added platforming challenges, but it was never used. Level design here is just generally bland. Usually there's a mid-boss and of course a boss fight at the end. The mileage on some of these fights vary. Some of the bosses were easy enough and fun to fight with learnable patterns, while some just seem completely impossible if you didn't possess their weakness. There's not a real sense of balance here, and I found myself getting frustrated on some of the bosses and falling asleep on the others. I can't think of a fight that I walked away from that was truly memorable. The best was just kind of okay. There are also these forced story missions. After you clear a level or two, you are taken out of the character select screen and forced to play through a story mission. These were absolutely horrific. Level design was straightforward, and I mean that quite literally. You just walk straight until you get to the boss, and usually there's a character to talk to in the middle. You get to the boss, and there's some more dialogue, and then a fight that is literally impossible. And I mean that, literally. You just have to sit and survive and spam E-tanks until the cutscene triggers. They were just so frustrating and a complete waste of time. If it was a one-time thing like that boss fight in Mega Man X, I guess I could deal with it. But there were like 4 of them throughout the course of this game. They're just ludicrously impossible by design. I guess why not just have me die and then trigger the cutscene? Why do we have to sit and suffer through these horrific patterns and waste all my E-tanks to get to the cutscene? It's just piss poor design. And I think that summarized this game. A group of things that maybe had potential, but there's always a black cloud hanging over what could have been cool. Like, for example, you could duck. Most Mega Man games you can't duck, but here you can. And when you do, the game usually glitches and you're just stuck ducking for a second. The charge shot gives you a triple jump, but there's never any opportunity to use it in a meaningful way. You get a bunch of weapons, but most of them just fly in a straight line. And even the kind of coolest ones like the spike shield never really have an opportunity to be used outside of the bosses. The enemy placement never demands anything of you. There's no reason to use anything but the standard buster and sword. And you have the sword, which is actually really cool with a multi-hit flashy combo, but when you get hit and you're in your invincibility frames, you can't use the sword. The button just doesn't work, so you just stand there, waiting to be able to attack again at closer range. It's just really dumb and aggravating. It's just things like this that added to an experience that I really wanted to like, but just felt like a slog. But that's the other thing. This game just keeps going. You have the intro stage, the bosses, the story stages, the equivalent of the Wily stages. It feels like it goes on forever. I mean, realistically, I think it took me about 5 hours to beat, but man, that 5 hours felt long. Overall, I don't think this game is worth the time. It is cheap, it's $2 on Steam, and I bet it goes on sale for $1 or less, but even for that price, there's just so many other good Mega Man clones you could be playing, as well as free-to-play Mega Man fan games, that I just don't see any reason to play this as a fan of Mega Man, or just indie action platformers in general.